Wisconsin Eye's 2014 election coverage is brought to you by the Wisconsin Hospital Association. For over 90 years, a valued voice for Wisconsin hospitals, supporting high-quality, high-value care in communities like yours.
Wisconsin Eye is at the Milwaukee Public Library interviewing candidates for the 2014 elections. We're interviewing Mr. Randy Bryce of Caledonia. He's a Democrat running in the 21st Senate District. Randy, thanks for talking to Wisconsin Eye.
A pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
And Wisconsin Eye appreciates the support of the Wisconsin Hospital Association, which represents more than 139 hospitals and health systems, for making these candidate interviews possible. Randy, I'd kind of like to ask you to put in context and elaborate on something on your website, which your campaign website. Quote, extremists in control of Wisconsin are not looking out for most of its hardworking people. That's it. That's a pretty good way to start the interview.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to make it known that Scott Walker and the Republicans, they've been completely in charge of Wisconsin government. They're in charge of both houses of the legislature, obviously the governor's office, as well as I would call it a very partisan Supreme Court, and as well as General Attorney. We've been promised things that haven't taken place. We were promised 250,000 jobs. On Governor Walker's commercials, he's admitting 150,000 short of his promise, and this was a promise that we were given. I work with the building trades guys, and there have been periods throughout him being governor that people have been out of work so long that unemployment is running out. There's nothing being done to help working people in Wisconsin, even though he has full control to do that. He had full control to make good on his promises. Instead, he's given tax breaks to people that really don't need it. Now we see us facing a $1.8 billion deficit. All of this is within his control. And I think you see the likes of Dale Schultz leaving the Senate, who could very well be deemed a moderate Republican. I call him, the old school Republican. And I see these old school Republicans very few and far between in the government today. It seems a very extreme agenda that's pointedly attacking nonstop working people in Wisconsin.
Okay, let me ask you about three specific votes and how you issues and how you would have voted. Would you have voted against Act 10?
Yes, I would have voted against Act 10.
Go ahead. Why?
Scott Walker admitted while under oath in Congress that it had no financial benefit to Wisconsin at all. I know from my membership in a labor union that it's a contract. Now, a few years back, we agreed to take less money in our contract, knowing the state of economics in Wisconsin. I don't think that that's something that had to be forced upon public workers. It's something that could have very easily been negotiated, and it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have divided the state as much as it has.
What about the photo ID to vote, Bill?
I see it as a solution looking for all kinds of problems, especially now. Part of the extreme Republican cuts have been to the DMV hours. There's 8 counties in Wisconsin that's only open 1 day a week. There are 30 that are, I'm sorry, 1 day a month.
Okay,
8 that are open 1 day a month.
Thanks for clarifying.
There are 30 that are open 1 day a week. So that leaves some people with 1 day to get a photo ID. I don't think well, I know there have not been enough cases to have any, to have this be a credible source. It's confusion. The timing of it is horrible because now you have people that sent in absentee ballots. Now they're further required to send in an ID. Well, these clerks, who do they have to, they get the ID, a photocopy of an ID. What do they have to look against? There's no face there. Okay. We're having, 2 sets of rules for 1 election. And I think if it was going to be put in place, that they should have waited until after this election.
Would you have voted for the concealed carry bill?
I don't have as big of an issue with concealed carry. I think that owning a gun just needs to be done responsibly. We need to have common sense and not allow people Convicted felons or people with mental health issues, they need to have no business owning a firearm.
Okay. Let's talk about some issues that, if you're elected to the Senate, you'd be voting on next year in the state budget. First of all, is funding for schools. Well, let's start with this. Do you support the choice and voucher program?
I absolutely do not.
Okay.
This all started, and this is one of the reasons why I'm running, is my son, after Scott Walker was elected as governor, my son was starting public schools in Racine Unified. He's doing great, and the teachers there are doing a fantastic job. Years ago, you used to have parochial schools and people that couldn't afford to send their children to these private schools. I never had an issue with that. What happened now is 71, possibly 73%, I couldn't tell you the exact number, of people that are receiving these vouchers from the government already have their children attending these schools. I think it's a waste of money, and what they're doing is that these are businesses disguised as education facilities. There's no accountability. We can talk about maybe giving them some kind of funding if they're held accountable. But right now, it's a bowl with all kinds of holes. That money's just falling out of the bottom.
Governor Walker this summer asked that Wisconsin withdraw from the Common Core standards. Your position?
After talking to teachers trying to understand Common Core more, it seems they're a little confused too. There doesn't seem to be, it doesn't seem to be the best system put in place. And it's what we have now. I think that we could find a better option.
Okay. Transportation funding. There's a projection that the transportation budget's going to be $600 million, $700 million at deficit in the next biennium. How should that be filled?
Well, I think, infrastructure is a huge issue for us. Not just on roads and bridges. I work on roads and bridges. I'm working on the home bridge right now. I think we need to repair the current roads and bridges that we have in place. I've seen the other side of the home bridge. As we're going and retrofitting the western section, I'm looking at the eastern section and seeing the bearings crumbling. So, that's how much money do you want to spend on it? Well, how much is a life worth when you have something like what happened in Minnesota?
Would you consider raising either the gas tax, that hasn't been changed since 2006, or the $75 license plate fee that you and I pay?
I'm not a strong advocate of raising taxes on people. I think people are being stretched out right now. I think a better way to get more money into our tax base is by getting people back to work with good paying jobs.
Okay, let's talk about health care. 1 in 5 Wisconsin residents get their health care from our Medicaid program. Mm-hmm. The American Hospital Association says our reimbursement rate for Medicaid is second lowest from the bottom. Should those rates be increased?
Well, health care is very important. I think Scott Walker should have accepted federal money from the government. There's no reason why he didn't. That money's not going back. I'm not going to get a check from the federal government because we didn't use it. I think that's number one thing that should be done, is he needs to accept funding for Badger Care. People are going without right now, and the people that are going without have nothing.
Okay. As you know, a regional tax helped pay for Miller Park and is still paying for Miller Park. Mm-hmm. The discussion over a new arena for the Bucks, the price tag $400 million, $500 million. Should any state money be used for that arena, Randy?
I worked on Miller Park, and it provided a lot of good-paying jobs over an extended time. I would love to see a new facility be built for the Milwaukee Bucks in the downtown area. If not, somewhere's near. However, I don't feel comfortable asking people to pay more money for a private business.
If you're in the Senate, there's talk now of a potential, with emphasis on the possible, a budget deficit in the next biennium that could exceed $1 billion. If you're in the Senate, how would you try to fill that hole?
Well, I think the number one thing we need to do is ask for these huge tax breaks back that Republicans, handed out like candy to their campaign supporters. That's, looking at the numbers, that's what I see the cause of as our deficit. We made all kinds of draconian cuts that left people with next to nothing. We attacked working families. And who benefited from it? Well, the top 5% of people in Wisconsin, they don't need that help. They're not going to buy an extra car with that money. The real job creators are working people. When we're working, when we have money to spend, we create a demand for products and services, and that creates more jobs.
One of the first bills passed last session, as you know, laid the groundwork for Gogebic Taconite to apply for a potential open pit iron mine permit. Would you have voted for that?
Not the way it was put forth.
Why? But those who voted for it says it's a jobs issue. Well, go ahead.
I would like to see a mine in northern Wisconsin. However, I don't think it should be done the way it was done. Gogebic donated $700,000 to the Club for Growth. Shortly thereafter, legislation was rushed. People were not listened to. I think we need to take a step back, allow the people in the area. You have the Bad River Tribe up there that, they're claiming there's a treaty, a federal treaty. I respect treaties. I respect contracts. It's the way that a civilized society works. Pretty much everybody was shut out of that decision. The rules were just rushed through. I've worked at the mine in the Tilden mine in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I also have looked at the regulations that they have in Minnesota for mining. Well, if we had something like that people could say, okay, the environment is being looked after, I think there's a way to do it that we could make more people happy that it's going on. And I think we need a lot more consensus before ramming this through.
The bill to legalize medical marijuana will be reintroduced next session. Now you have Colorado and the states of Washington legalize recreational marijuana. Your position on those issues?
I'm in favor of legalizing medicinal marijuana. I recently had an uncle who died from lung cancer. He was considering moving to Michigan in order to obtain it. The pain that he was going through, and he couldn't eat anything. I watched him wither away to practically nothing. And medical, research has shown that can be beneficial to cancer patients. As far as medicinal marijuana, I don't have my mind, recreational marijuana.
Recreational.
I don't have my mind set up one way or another, but it appears to be a very big moneymaker in Colorado.
Okay. First offense, drunken driving. Should it be a crime in Wisconsin?
I believe it should be.
Why?
Just the fact that, so much harm, death could come as a result of it. And looking at the other states, I think Wisconsin is one of the only states that doesn't view it as a crime.
Finally, you want to highlight any differences between you and your opponent on November 4?
Yes, I would say everything is a difference. He's been basically, he claims to have, carried the banner for everything that's been happening in Wisconsin. He spent 18 months as a state senator before he was recalled. The people of the 21st District decided that's not the way we wanted to go due to the extreme policies that he was helping further. I listen to people, I talk to people. I have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and that's how I live my life. I don't see him listening to working families at all. And basically, it's another rubber stamp for Scott Walker. I look at, I'll listen to both sides. And I have dealt with them in this very divided, divisive state that we have right now. I've been able to find a lot of compromise with them.
Okay.
Things we agree on. Basically, helping working people in Wisconsin first.
Okay. Randy, thanks very much. Randy Bryce of Caledonia is a Democrat running in the 21st Senate District. Randy, thanks for talking to Wisconsin Eye.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Good, sir.